Hey guys, it's Alex. I'm here with a massive unhaul for you guys today. I've been going through my shelves a bit. I don't know if you've noticed behind me things have changed slightly. I'm not nearly done with reorganizing, but I have accumulated two very large stacks of books that I'm unhauling, so I was originally going to split this video into multiple parts, but I figured let's just do it all at once, and I'm sure I'll have more books to unhaul later. Most of these books I'm getting rid of, either because they're children's books I no longer want, or because they're books I have duplicates of, but there are some that I'm just getting rid of because I really hated the book. The first two books I have are two Babysitter's Club books. I have Babysitter's Little Sister and a mystery book. I got rid of most of my Babysitter Club's books like a year or two ago when I went through my books and decided I couldn't keep every middle grade collection that I loved, but these two must have slipped through the cracks. I also have a giant stack of 9 American Girl books. Various girls. I've got Josefina and more Josefina and Molly and Kit. Just a lot of 9 books. And these are all books. I am keeping all my American Girl books. But these are ones I have duplicates of because I have a couple of the collections, so I don't really need all of these. I'm also getting rid of The Stalking of Kristen, A Father Investigates the Murder of His Daughter by George Lardner Jr. I actually read this and reviewed it on my channel like a year ago. I think this was one of the first books I reviewed. I didn't like it. I thought it was boring. I really should have gotten rid of it then because I'm never going to read it or think about it or talk about it again. It's just not something that I felt was worth my time. So it's going in the pile. Absalom Absalom by William Faulkner. I have a duplicate of this and it's a nicer copy, so I'm getting rid of this one. Tamora Pierce's Protector of the Small Page. Again, I have a duplicate of this. Oh, my Tamora Pierce shelf moved. I was going to point it out because it used to be in frame. My entire Princess Diary series. I have 5 of these books. I loved these books when I first started reading them. I think I was in elementary school, and these were amazing. And I kept following them as more came out. Eventually it got to the point where I was less interested in them and wasn't quite in love with them the way I used to be. I revisited them, just flipped through a few pages a couple years ago, and they're not books that hold up for me. I wish I still loved them, but I really didn't like the writing style, and I kind of remember Mia being quite annoying, and great books for kids, but as an adult, I really don't think they're worth keeping on my shelf. The Pleasures of Men by Kate Williams. I talked about this in my most recent wrap-up. I gave this book 1 star, and I got this from Barnes & Noble too. This was a new book, and that just makes me kind of angry that I wasted money on it. But it was worthless. I'm never gonna read it again. It was so bad. It was genuinely one of the books that didn't even feel like it was a book. It just felt like a bunch of nonsense on the page. But it's going, and hopefully I can sell it and get some money for it. Christopher Pike's Spellbound. I read this when I was in middle school, and I was like, ooh, scandalous with my friend, because I think there was a sex scene in it, and it's about a vampire werewolf monster thing, and I'm not gonna ever reread it. The Looking Glass Wars and Seeing Red, the second in the series, by Frank Better. I had these books for a really long time, and I did enjoy them, but recently I was at a thrift store, and I found the 3rd one in the series, and I hadn't realized it was a trilogy. I just thought it was a duology, I guess because I read them when they came out, which is why I have the hardback in this. I found the 3rd one, and then I found the first 2 that were in the same edition as that one, so I wound up just getting all of them, and I'm getting rid of these 2, because they're duplicates. A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray. My friend gave me a copy, and I picked up a copy from the thrift store, so I wound up with 2, and I've still never read it. Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul. I've never been a Chicken Soup person. I thought I got rid of all my Chicken Soup books last year when I did my unhaul, but apparently I missed one. Some Girls by Kristen McCloy. I didn't talk about this, but I read it and I gave it 2 stars, and it was just an incredibly generic book of small town girl goes to the big city, meets more interesting people than her, and has an interesting life, and it was honestly a kind of worthless read, I thought. Forever in Blue, The Fourth Sisterhood, The Fourth Summer of the Sisterhood by Amber Shares. Actually, this was the book I picked up in the haul I just posted a few weeks ago. I found the fourth one in a paperback that matches the rest of my series, so I'm getting rid of this one. Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. I accidentally picked up 2 of these at the thrift store, which is what happens when you don't pay attention to what you're buying and just come home with giant boxes. An old Boxcar Children book that I do still collect, the Boxcar Children, and they're not a book series I'm quite ready to give up on yet. This is a duplicate. R.L. Stein's The Haunting Hour. I have a really intense hatred of R.L. Stein. I was in about elementary school when people were like reading his books and like the Goosebumps series especially. And those books terrified me. Like, I was absolutely petrified of reading them and didn't want any part in them whatsoever. And even now, like, I know if I read them today, they'd be like silly and funny and like obviously not scary at all. Like, I know who R.L. Stein is, but I'm still too scared to read any of his books. So I'm just gonna get rid of this one, having never read it, and we're gonna pretend it was never on my shelf. Fear Street by R.L. Stein. I've actually read this, I believe, or it's called The Confession, but I'm 90% sure I've read this, and it was just like a worthless little middle grade murder story. I guess middle grade? Murder seems kind of intense for middle grade. Meant for kids, like your first horror crime story. Not really enjoyable so much by adults. Trailsman, number 156, The Sawdust Trail. I don't really know what this is. It's like a series of the Wild West, I think. I've never read it. I don't really have any desire to read it. It's just been on my shelf for years, not getting read. Chocolate Fever by Robert Kimmel Smith. I read this book when I was a kid, and I liked it, but I don't think it's really one that I would appreciate continuing to own. It's not a favorite. The Mystery of the Nervous Lion. Again, not a favorite. It's just a book from my childhood. It's really old that I really don't need to have anymore. Clausewitz, A Very Short Introduction by Michael Howard. I hated this book. I had to get it for a European history class in college, and I had to read it, and it was miserable. I hate this so much. I don't know why it's been on my shelf for the past 6 years. This is just like horrible flashbacks from one of the first terrible classes I ever took in college. The City of Ember. I picked up 2 from the thrift store. But reading the back of this, there are 4 books of Ember, and I've only ever read the first one. And this just like, I'm getting rid of it, but I'm really excited to reread it, actually. And like, read the rest of the series that I never read, because I think when I started reading them, only the first one was out. I just like got distracted, because I'm so bad at reading series when they're not all out. That's why I wait. And Sula by Toni Morrison. The last book I'm getting rid of, because to my great embarrassment, I also picked this up twice from the thrift store. Which is apparently what I do. This is what happens when you just accumulate boxes of books at a time and leave them on your floor for months. Like, people, go through the books you own. Stop buying duplicates. Don't be like me. So, I didn't count those, but there are quite a few there. I'm planning to go to Second and Charles and see if they want to buy any of those. I know a lot of them are older or in bad condition, so they're obviously not going to want a bunch of them, but I figure if they take some, I can get a couple books from there, hopefully. Hopefully, if I remember to film, I will add some footage from Second and Charles. Waiting for them to price my books and see if they want to take any, which hopefully they will. I'm hoping for 5. You know, if they buy 5, that'd be sweet. I didn't bring in all of them just because I know they only take books that are in really good condition, and there's really no point in bringing them books that have like really worn covers or that are like really old and yellowed pages. So casually shopping to see what I'm gonna buy, because I'm getting at least one book regardless of if they buy any of mine. And I don't know, the guy said it'd only be like 10 or 15 minutes, which is sweet. Last time I was here it took like an hour, so that's why I came in the morning right after they opened, so I could be the first one. But they have a bunch of Fearless books, and I've been starting to collect the Fearless series. I just don't know. I don't know what I have. Like, I don't know what edition I have, because I just like to get all the same edition if I can. But yeah, I'm sort of sketched out like filming inside. I feel like people would judge me if they walk by, even though it's dead in here, because it's like 10:30 or 11 a.m. on a Friday morning. Hopefully they buy some books. So apparently they have a new store opening near here, and they took literally everything I brought in, which was a fair amount. So I have $20 in store credit, which means the end of this video might not be a haul, because I'm gonna get a fair amount of books for $20. And also I'm gonna do another unhaul real soon, because as I go through my books I'm finding more duplicates, and if they're gonna buy everything, then I'm gonna bring everything in and get more books. This is really awesome, actually. I would just like to say that I went in there expecting that they would buy like maybe 5 of my books and I'd get like $3 or $4 of store credit. That was my expectation. So the fact that I walked away with like the world's largest stack of books should not reflect poorly on me. I'd like to start out with my free book, because this won't take long to go through, despite the fact that they're like, well, 13 actually. They're 13. I apologize. I got Ursula K. Le Guin, The Left Hand of Darkness. And I know she's one of like the big sci-fi names that you should read, and I never have, so like it was in the free bin. There wasn't much in the free bin because since they have a store opening, they're taking like basically everything. They took everything I brought in, and I brought in some trash. So like, I mean, you guys saw my haul. I brought in like all of those books except for maybe like 5, and they got all of them. So this was in the free bin. I feel like I should read her. She's someone I do want to read. And then I don't know if I can actually lift this up. It's kind of ridiculous. Let's see if I can. Nope. Nope. Oops. They went everywhere. I got these. Look at all these lovely Fearless books. And that is all I can do. Yeah, I got like 12 Fearless books. I basically cleaned out their Fearless section, and these were all on clearance, so they were all only $1. So I still have like almost $8 left there, but I didn't spend it all. I'll come back. I will come back later and get more books. But I'm so happy. This, like, I don't even know what this does to my Fearless book collection. Like, I have 12 books. They're like 33 or 34 total. And the fact that I have so many already. There are like 33 in the main series, and I now have 13. So I am thoroughly pleased with that, except I don't know where these are going. When I've come before, they usually really only get like a couple of the ones that are in nicer condition that they don't have too many of. Also, I think I like hauled almost as many as I unhauled, which was not my intention. Please save me from myself. Bye.